The 2026 Vauxhall Corsa GSE, the hot hatch returns. This time it is fully electric, 281 horsepower, 62 in 5.5 seconds. That makes it the fastest Vauxhall on sale, and GSE means it was bred for a track. But a fast Corsa is nothing new, so the real question is whether going electric ruins the recipe. Look closely, and the intent is everywhere, from the wide, low nose to the dark honeycomb grille. Subscribe and stay with me, because by the end, you will know if this electric Corsa earns its badge. This is where the GSE badge replaces the old VXR name, Vauxhall's Fast Corsas Reborn for the electric age. The Griffin badge sits proud up front, a small nod to the brand's performance past. Everything up here is sharpened, the bumper deeper, the lower splitter pushed further forward for effect. It is a small car wearing a very serious face, and it wants you to know it. The GSE lettering leaves absolutely no doubt about which Corsa you are looking at here. Down the side, the stance does the talking long before you ever read a single badge. Flashes of acid yellow break up the bodywork, the unmistakable GSE signature color. It is a detail borrowed straight from Vauxhall's wild GSE motorsport concept cars. The roof is finished in gloss black, the glass tapering into a tight, purposeful tail that hints at the pace underneath. Even the trim gets a fine thread of yellow running through it. The proportions are classic hot hatch, short overhangs, with the wheels pushed right out to the corners. And those corners sit wider than any normal Corsa, the front track pushed out by 54 millimeters. It also sits 24 millimeters lower, dropping the whole car much closer to the tarmac. At the back, that name proudly reads Corsa GSE, and the rear has clearly grown up too. A subtle roof spoiler and a wider rear bumper give it a proper, purposeful, planted look. The taillights are new, a slim red signature that stretches cleanly across the hatch. At night, they glow as one continuous bar, the kind of premium detail once reserved for far pricier cars. Seen whole from behind, it looks squat and confident, far more grown up than the humble Corsa you probably picture. Vauxhall clearly wanted this one to look special from every angle, not just quick in a straight line. And the closer you look, the more you notice all the money that was spent on the details. Gloss black surrounds, deep red lenses, everything carefully tuned to feel a class above. It is quiet proof that a small hatch can still feel like a genuine event. But a hot hatch lives or dies on its chassis. And this is exactly where the GSE stops being a styling exercise and gets serious. It rides on 18-inch alloys wrapped in grippy Michelin Pilot sport rubber, chosen for corners rather than quiet comfort. Behind them, the entire suspension has been comprehensively reworked from the standard Corsa. Stiffer springs, new anti-roll bars, and bespoke shock absorbers all work together to sharpen it. Vauxhall says the front springs are stiffer by 2/3. And peeking through the spokes, four-piston Alcon brakes clamp down onto big front discs. That is proper performance hardware, the sort you rarely find on a car that starts life as a supermini. To put the power down cleanly, there is even a Torsen limited slip differential up front. It is the clever piece that should stop the front wheels scrabbling for traction. Up front, the lighting is all new too. Vauxhall's visor face wraps the lights and grille into one dark glossy panel, giving the little Corsa a properly mean stare. The headlights are LED slim and aggressive, angled as if they are already leaning into a bend. It is a face clearly designed to fill a mirror and make you move over. And there is real substance behind the styling in how this thing should actually drive. Because unlike a petrol hot hatch, all of that torque arrives the very instant you press the pedal. 345 Newton meters, delivered flat and instantly with no gears to interrupt it. On paper, that should make it feel savage off the line and effortless between the corners. Feeding all of this is a 54 kilowatt-hour battery with 51 of it usable. Plug into a 100 kilowatt rapid charger and it tops up in about half an hour. It can even power your gear thanks to a built-in socket. But here's the tension that every fast electric car has to answer. One number decides this, and it isn't the power. 3 drive modes let you choose: full power in sport, a gentler 231 horsepower for normal. Eco goes furthest. But drive any electric car hard, and the range printed on the label starts to vanish alarmingly quickly. For now, let us step inside because the cabin got the full GSE treatment too. Climb inside, and the first thing you meet is a pair of deeply bolstered sport seats. They are wrapped in Alcantara and cloth with a bold tartan pattern shot through with yellow. In front of you sits a flat-bottomed wheel wrapped in the same suede like Alcantara. Below it, thankfully, Vauxhall has kept real physical buttons for the climate control. Little GSE badges dot the whole cabin, reminding you this is no ordinary Corsa. The driving position is low and snug, exactly where a hot hatch wants you. Yellow contrast stitching runs across the dashboard, lifting what is otherwise a familiar Corsa layout. Ahead of the driver sits a 10-inch digital cluster, paired with a matching 10-inch touchscreen running Vauxhall's latest software. The system is quick enough with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto built in. Not the flashiest cabin in the class, but easy to live with daily. The digital dials clearly show your power, your battery, and how much range you have left. And crucially, the important controls stay physical, so you are not diving through menus while you drive. It feels built for the driver first, and the screen second, which is exactly right here. Space up front is generous for such a small car, with plenty of head and shoulder room. The materials are a clear step above the standard Corsa, though a few lower plastics stay hard. It is a cabin that finally feels genuinely worthy of the badge on the wheel. But those front seats are the real showpiece, hugging you tightly and firmly in place. The bolsters are deep, the fabric grippy, clearly built to hold you steady when the cornering forces build. That signature yellow stripe runs right down the very center of each seat. They are heated too, so all the sportiness does not cost you any everyday comfort. It is a small touch that tells you Vauxhall really thought about living with this car daily. Every stitch and every panel in here leans into the same focused, sporting theme. It is one of the best cabins Vauxhall has ever put inside a Corsa. And unlike some rivals, it does not sacrifice practicality just to chase the sporty look. Which brings us neatly to the back seats. Behind the fronts there is room for 2 adults, though taller passengers will find the headroom tight. It is a supermini after all, so the rear is really best for kids or shorter trips. The same yellow accents carry into the back, keeping the whole theme consistent throughout. The doors are nice and wide though, so climbing in and out stays easy enough. For a young family or a couple, the space on offer is perfectly usable day to day. This was never going to be a limousine, and it does not once pretend to be. What matters is that it stays a properly usable everyday car, and not just an expensive weekend toy. And that everyday usability, backed by a long battery warranty, is a big part of the appeal. Lift the tailgate and you get a boot on par with a normal Corsa, enough for a weekly shop or a couple of soft bags. It will not swallow a big family holiday, but it covers the daily runs with ease. So, after all that, is this a proper hot hatch or just a quick Corsa wearing a badge? On paper, it is absolutely the real thing, and the serious hardware clearly backs it up. The first reviews call it sharp, eager, and seriously fun to hustle down a road. But there is that catch, the one number that quietly decides everything. The 232-mile range only really holds if you drive it gently. Push it hard and it tumbles, and top speed is capped at just 112. The one trim to buy lands at just under 33,000 pounds after the government grant. That is 2,000 less than its cousin, the Peugeot A208 GTI. Skip it only if you need range. It scores a strong 9.1, and the Alpine A290 is next.